Beware of false gods. What does Deuteronomy chapter 12 say about using foreign style worship to worship the one true Yahweh Elohim? Let's take a look. Let's read Deuteronomy 12 verse 30 to 32. It says, "Take heed to yourself that you are not ensnared to follow them," them being the heathen nations, "that you do not inquire after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? I also will do likewise. You shall not worship Yahweh your Elohim in that way, for every abomination to Yahweh which he hates they have done to their gods." Here's an example. If you see a heathen nation celebrate their donkey god by painting a donkey blue and riding it around a fire all night long, don't say to yourself, "Well, that looks cool. I think I'll do the same, but for Yahweh. Yahweh knows my heart and knows I'm not worshiping the donkey like the pagans did, but that the donkey is now symbolic of who is Yahweh." Sound familiar? Yahweh is a jealous El. He hates the use and adoption of pagan worship to worship him. Again, it says in Deuteronomy 12, "You shall not worship Yahweh your Elohim in that way, for every abomination to Yahweh which he hates, they have done to their gods." Continuing with verse 30. "Whatever I command you, be careful to observe it. You shall not add to it nor take away from it." Over the centuries, mainstream Christianity has done this, preaching that the feasts of Yahweh are done away with, taking away Leviticus 23 feasts that are actually teaching and telling the story of the gospel of Yeshua. And after doing away with Yahweh's law, the feasts, they then add Christmas. The commandment says, "Do not add Christmas and take away the biblical holy days." Verse 30, "You shall not add to it nor take away from it." Yahweh has told us in his greatest commandment in Deuteronomy 6, "You shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength." Yahweh also tells us how to love him with all we have. Deuteronomy 11 verse 1, "Therefore you shall love Yahweh your Elohim, and keep his charge, his statutes, his judgments, and his commandments always." Deuteronomy 30 verse 16, "I command you today to love Yahweh your Elohim." How to love him? To walk in his ways and to keep his commandments. So, what does his commandment say? Do not worship or celebrate Yahweh in any way that's found outside the Bible and among the heathen nations. Christmas in December, the winter solstice, is not a biblical holiday. It traces back to the heathen nations. Nowhere in Scripture do you see a law or commandment that says we should celebrate the birth of Messiah. Instead, Scripture says to celebrate Messiah by observing Passover, for Yeshua is our Passover lamb who takes away the sins of the world. First fruits, for Yeshua is risen as the first fruits from the grave. Tabernacles, the great millennial reign when Yeshua returns, and more. If you want to love Yahweh the way he says he wants to be loved, then do away with the heathen holidays of Santa Claus, reindeer, Christmas trees, Yule logs, mistletoes, and the winter solstice, and get back to the roots of our Hebrew faith. Keep Leviticus 23 feasts for Yahweh and his son Yeshua. That's how Yahweh wants to be loved. Beware of the false gods. Beware of the heathen nations. Beware of modern heathen nations, including the West. I will leave a link to a well-made documentary called The Christmas Question. It goes into great detail and scholarly resources on what Christmas is all about. Please share your thoughts below. Thank you, and shalom.